Hey, what's going on, everybody? So let's dive right into this video. Kind of winging it here a little bit, but I know the basic gist of what I want to talk about and what I want to share, and hopefully we can, see where this goes. But I guess the video is going to be about the two main types of people that exist on this earth and how knowing this can help you through all kinds of life situations, including just difficult times, just when times are good, when you're going through a breakup, a separation, any sort of conflict, trouble at work, with your health. This knowledge is going to be helpful for pretty much everything. And the two different types of people on this earth, in this particular case that I want to focus on and talk about, are the people who are energy drainers. Let's do this right. So you've got the energy drainers, people who lack, people who need, people who, I guess, can't be on their own for very long. They need to do stuff to keep themselves busy, and usually that's being around people. So you've got the kind of the people who lack, and then on this side the people who are energy generators, people who are more whole, people who are focused on their life goals. They have goals in life. They have things that they're focused on, and they are on their quest and on their journey in life, and they have more than, at least 50 to 60% of their relationship is with themselves. And I guess there's a lot of different words for that. You can call that self-love, you can call that wholeness. I like to just call that just happiness. When you have a good relationship with yourself, it's the source of confidence, happiness, self-esteem, all of these things. This, on the other hand, people who are kind of lacking and draining are more, the way that this has happened to them is because they've been hurt. They've probably invested a lot of their attention and energy and time into something or someone that has let them down, and they've been left with a big hole. And I've done videos on this before about the big hole and how it's important to fill that hole up with your own attention, with creating new goals, with your own life. And where I live in this town in Bali, it's actually really clear to see the two different types of people. There are the people that are busy getting on with their life and have goals, have a life journey, and are energizing themselves. They're energy generators. Then there are the people that aren't really doing much with their time, don't have much stuff going on, and kind of lazily can be drawn to the energy generators for their source of energy. So their energy, rather than taking it from, creating goals in their life, focusing on themselves, which is not easy, by the way. All these things are not easy. So the energy generators who are doing all of that, who are focusing on their goals, setting goals, working towards their goals, et cetera, that takes effort, that takes patience, it takes discipline. But then you have all the energy vampires who are attracted to those energy generating people, and they're going to in some way try to take the power because they need it, they crave it, they need the attention, they need the energy, they need the power. Okay? So it's really critical for all of us to understand that this is going on. How does it happen again? This can happen to anyone who invests too much of their time, focus, attention onto something outside of themselves, external to themselves. And most common, it's a relationship, but it can be work. It can be if you invest too much into, being attached to a friend, a house, even. It can be pretty much anything, a pet. So the knowing of retaining a relationship, enough attention, enough time, enough of your energy invested into yourself is super important for you to remain confident, happy, powerful, and in control of yourself, of your life, rather than the other end of the spectrum, which when you're lacking, when you have low self-esteem, low confidence, and you're not happy, you're quite bored actually in life because there's nothing that gives you the stimulation you need as much as, let's say, perhaps other people, and being able to like drain their energy and their power from them. And the way that that happens is by taking their attention, taking their time. So it's, again, going back to what's critical is no matter where you are, if you're in a breakup, if you've just lost your job, if you're dealing with a death, just lost a friend or whatever, and there could be this emptiness, and this emptiness can be enhanced by having nothing to do, being bored, being on your own. Okay, and most people, 95% of people, will not be able to cope with that and will immediately be drawn to the things that stimulate them, like, communicating with people, and in a lot of cases, creating drama. Drama is usually created by people who are bored, who don't have anything better to do. The vast majority of people are busy, they're doing things, they're at work, they have some sort of goal in life, whether they've got kids, a family, whatever. For me, I have my martial arts, which is very important to me, music, my business. So, we all have things that, that we're basically like working on and improving and constantly trying to do better at. And then, again, like I said, then you have a lot of people who kind of try to take the lazy, quick route, and rather than training themselves to be okay with themselves and to feel that burn, to feel that emptiness, feel that depression, feel whatever comes, whether it's anger, misery, feel all of that stuff and realize that that is inevitable, that you're going to feel that, and trying to escape it by kind of taking energy from other people or from other things is only going to be a temporary fix. And in fact, what you're just doing is you're just spreading, you're just draining energy from all around you and people around you, and just basically making the world a worse place to be. And it's not these people's faults. It's not their faults that they are draining and their energy. If you look at some chemical compounds, for example, there are different compounds, and they're made up of different structures, molecular structures or chemical structures. And sometimes you'll have like one compound that lacks a certain, let's say, electron or something, and then this one will have an extra electron. When these compounds, chemical compounds, are put next to each other, the one lacking an electron usually will take the electron from the one that has an extra one, and that's just something that happens. And it's not that one compound was mean and wanted to take something from the other one. It's just the way it is. It's just how nature is. So let's say that there's this happy person, and this happy person gets in a relationship with someone else who has issues. And that person, or actually let's say both people are happy and don't have any issues, but through this relationship, which they were not maybe compatible with each other, one person winds up being more of a giver and the other one winds up being more of a taker. And it's not an energizing relationship where both people should be focused on their own goals and on their own life. Instead, it becomes a relationship too focused on each other, and one person, and possibly not energizing each other. Rather than that, it's both people taking from each other. Until one person gets so hurt and depressed, and their energy is so brought down because of perhaps the one person or both people who are trying to take each other's power or compete for each other's power. Or the bottom line is, rather than giving each other energy because they're being energized by themselves on their own path, they wind up focusing too much on each other and taking energy from each other. It could be that one person in this relationship is on their path, doing their thing, and then there's a taker here. Or it could be that they're both taking from each other, both kind of like become way too focused on each other and not enough focus on their own life. But whether you're single, in a breakup, in a relationship, whatever status you are, it's always important to just the bulk of your life to be focused on your thing, your goals, your interests, what energizes you, what keeps you healthy and happy, and to be really aware of the things that drain you, whether they're people, activities, or whatever. So whenever you do get, let's say these two people who started off just fine, no issues, everything cool, after the relationship, maybe one of them gets hurt. The one that gets hurt is going to have this hole, and if it's not dealt with properly, this hole, remember the chemical compound, it's naturally going to need some energy and power, because it's going to be leaking constantly energy. And this hole is going to look around until it finds the type of energy that it wants, that it craves, and then it will latch on, almost like a leech or whatever. Let's go back to the chemical compound, and it will start to drain. So for those of you out there who might be watching this and thinking, yes, I know people who have been draining me, the important thing is to distance yourself from people like that. Creating distance and then refocusing back on your life and on your objectives. Why is it important to distance yourself? Because without realizing it, if you keep in contact with these people, whether or not you're in a relationship with them or you've ended a relationship or whatever, but staying close to them, they're going to keep taking, and not just that. As they take, what are they actually taking? They're taking your attention, your time. But at the end of the day, the core is your attention. And as they take your attention has been removed from the other things in your life that usually give you happiness and wholeness. And what is really common is that once these people have gone, or if they go, or whatever, then, like let's say if you're in a long relationship with someone for a couple of years or even a year, and they've been just kind of draining and craving your attention. Example is sometimes people, they don't want to do anything. They just want to like cuddle and kiss and just hang out and do this kind of stuff. Whereas the other person might have stuff to do, like work or, have a life to get on with. So when you spend too much of your time close to energy vampires or people who are draining, then you can find it more difficult to get back to your life after they've gone. And that's why a lot of people lose themselves in relationships. They kind of lose who they were, lose their interest in the things that they loved once, so it's very, very important, as with my video yesterday, which is prevention. As soon as you spot energy vampires. As soon as you spot drama, to just distance yourself and make it clear that this is not something you want to be involved with. Um, so, I mean, recently, last week, as I said in my last video, I had like some issues, and to the extent where I had to actually leave this place that I'm in. I had to just leave the place I was in, just to avoid and get myself out of the toxic environment so that I can continue to focus on just my amazing life, all the things that I love, you know, eating good food, my training, my music, blah, blah. So even if sometimes you have to take really difficult steps and make certain sacrifices, it's worth it to remove yourself from that, because nothing gives us more happiness, more peace, more confidence, more strength than our relationship with ourselves and nurturing that relationship with ourselves. I'm not saying that you've got to be like a Buddhist monk and just constantly be meditating, but it's important to be able to spend some time during the day on your own and establish that relationship with yourself. And yes, at the beginning, if you are lacking, if you are not whole, and if you have a huge hole inside yourself and you're suffering and you're sad and lonely and you feel empty and depressed as soon as no one's around, as soon as you're on your own, then it is going to be hard at the beginning. But nothing that's worth it is going to be easy. Okay, there has to be a balance, and most people who are successful in life have been through all of that. You know, I talk about Steve Jobs, I talk about Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX, and not just them. Most people just in general go through difficult, hard times. And you know, you can do the quick fixes that don't last and actually make that hole bigger because you're going to get hurt more, or you face it, you go through the burn, you know, so there's distractions on one hand, and then there's just facing it on the other hand. So distractions can be like going on holiday and trying to just hook up with people, or change the scenery. There's nothing wrong with changing the scenery. There's nothing wrong with going on holiday, but, you know, being aware that what you're doing is going to actually help you rather than hurt you. Because if you're going to wind up hurting yourself, you're going to attract, you know, negative people into your life. You're going to start to manifest more suffering, more pain, more of what you've gone through already. You're going to manifest more of that. So another video, I guess, this is another video about that connection with ourselves, that power that we have, not giving your power to anyone else, not letting anyone else take it. Don't be too nice, be firm, standing up for yourself, standing up for what you love. And remember that this whole existence, this whole life is just for you. We're all going to come into this world. We come into this world alone, and we're going to leave it independent and alone as well. So the road, the entire journey of the life as well, we feel as though we don't need to spend that alone, but there has to be that foundation of our own relationship with ourselves that's going to last throughout our life. So you come into the world alone, but you're also going to be with yourself for your entire life until you leave, and then you're going to leave also you know, independent on your own. You're not going to leave with anyone else. Even if you're in a 60-year long relationship with someone, it's unlikely you're both going to die at the same time. One person's going to leave before the other. So having that strong relationship with yourself is really key. And the best relationships, in my opinion, are not ones where two people are looking for each other, but it's more when two people are on their own paths, doing what they love in life, whatever it may be, and then one day looking over their shoulder and noticing, hey, there's another person who's on a very similar path to me, and that's how people meet. You know, when they're living their own life, and their lives run parallel to each other. And yeah, like I said, there's no good or bad person. I'm not trying to like say one person's better than the other. I'm just, we've all been lacking. We've all been in the place where we've had that emptiness, and some of you out there might be experiencing that now. And we've all been whole before, whether it was when we were younger, when we were children, or different periods of our life. But we all know that feeling of wholeness. Unfortunately, so many people derive that feeling, that awesome feeling that everything is going to be okay, that I am better, I'm in a better position, I feel strong. Most people derive that from getting attention from other people. And it's the strongest people, the people who are going to be the happiest, healthiest, and most successful, who are the ones that are not craving that like an addict to keep themselves whole, but instead finding that wholeness, that feeling of being strong, being up here, being, that you're not missing out on anything, that your life is the best life of all, your journey is the most amazing, interesting journey of all. People who are able to do that from just within themselves, from just, connecting with yourself, doing the things that you love, they're going to be the happiest of all. So I, for one, am on that path, and I would hope that this video makes enough sense to people out there for you to at least make an effort to try to create that connection with yourself. And remember that part of that is going to be going through the pain, going through the burn, going through the emptiness, the loneliness. It's not going to last. It won't last. It will last, it depends on what situation you're going through, but it will not last. However, if you're trying to distract yourself with temporary feeling of being whole, that's how you're going to make your suffering last much longer. And it could wind up being years, decades. Some people, their whole lives, they will have shit buried within them. So my advice is, if you're going through anything right now, even if you're not going through anything, to be aware of this. But if you are going through a difficult time, whether it's a breakup or anything, this is a great opportunity to sort of like examine your core, your foundations, and where your happiness is coming from. Is it coming from things outside of you? People, food, money, materialistic things, anything, a pet? Or is that happiness coming from your own love for your life, yourself? Is it coming from your ability to just be okay with how things are right now? Be okay with just sitting, listening to the birds, to going to the beach and just chilling and enjoying, enjoying eating some food without feeling like there needs to be any people there or more things there. That's how we enjoy our life. That's how life is enjoyed. And there are many people out there who are enjoying their lives and getting on with it. So let's all be on the right path here, and not neglect ourselves, not neglect the fact that your life is the most amazing life of all, and that you're not missing out on anything, that we are all unique, like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, and we are all important and necessary as a hive, as a human hive, as a huge community. We all have our purpose, we all have our place. And knowing that, for me, it affects me in that I try to remember to respect everyone as much as I can. But above everyone, I respect myself the most. So when I'm in a position where I'm in around toxicity or, around anything that distracts me from my life, my journey, I have enough respect for myself to protect myself. I have legs. I'm not a tree. I'm not planted in one spot. And I have a wise mind. I have a wise mind and legs, so I can move. I can change my environment. I can predict outcomes of things based on my life experiences. And I can make decisions that I believe are going to benefit me. So prevention is always the best cure. And being able to identify when people are energy draining or you know energy generating, and try to be around people who are energy generating. They're the best people to be around. And usually, who are they? They're focused. They have goals. They're working towards goals. Just today I had lunch with someone who's in same, just focused, designing, has her own business, is doing her own thing. And when you talk to people like that, they have very little time for bullshit. They have very little time for drama. They have very little time for gossip, very little time for negativity, because their life requires energy, power, and they have a great understanding of the value of that energy and power. And they are most likely generating a lot of it themselves, and also keeping themselves around fellow creative people. So yeah, be mindful of that. That's my video for today. Be mindful of people who are bored, don't have much to do. Usually are the drama makers. Beware of energy vampires, who can sometimes be in the same realm as that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with boredom. We all, it's just natural. But come back to yourself. Do something that is around, that revolves around you. I'll tell you, it can even be as basic as, like, sometimes once a week I'll just put jojoba oil all over myself. Like, it's really good oil and it's really good for your skin. And the process of just putting it all over my body, it's kind of almost as if I'm saying hi to my body. I'm like touching my body, I'm like exploring it, which is also really clever to do, because it's good to check in to make sure that you don't have any maybe cuts that could be getting affected. It's just examining your body. And if you look at animals, they do this to each other all day. Like, gorillas spend all day just examining each other. And if I had if I was in a relationship with someone, I would be doing that with them, and I would expect them to be doing that for me as well. But we also should do it for ourselves. If you're in the shower, you're going to give yourself self-love in a similar way. I had an amazing massage yesterday, by the way, and that is another way to give yourself self-love. So treating yourself awesome, in a cool way. All right, I hope that this video helps, and yeah, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below.